meeting. Talk about secret stuff. And cooperate.
Yeah.
From August. Nope. Members of the public, or any like, if you're to do so, we ask you to limit that to 3 minutes.
Agenda. Or is that too late?
I'm sorry?
Take him off the notes.
Cut off that slide.
Presentation.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me just.
Did you say there's just 2 slides here?
It's 2 slides. Short and sweeter. So you guys have to do. Yeah. All right. Is it okay to sit here and talk? Yeah. Great. So go to the next slide. Basically, what I'm going to do, I'll just go over kind of a quick high-level overview of what we've been doing. CTAC just got, there's a school that couldn't open locally because they got hit, and it's basically breaks down to a couple different categories. So we've got identity and access management, and basically what that's looking at is looking at your people that are logging in, when are they logging in, where are they logging in from. I can't remember. China right now, moving our tools to catch those things. Down. advanced computer protection computers. Tools and systems that we install included system, something called the latent threat. The key being that happen, security operations teams get that, and they're going to say, hey, this is also not supposed to be happening. Emails, everybody's of things, you know, sometimes it's almost one that I saw get through, you know, through their email sent. You have to log in. Active, right? We're just getting with a link, sharing their kids. It's not fun out there, which is why our hope is the training, right? So we have to do a lot of training with people so that you guys are seeing like, yeah, you know, your kind of is raised from the banks and it doesn't sound right, you know, and basically the thing we're putting that makes it seem like let's do it right now. That this happened, but his second day on the job, he got a text message from somebody saying, hey, Brandon needs you to go get Apple gift cards down at the store. You got to go right now. You got to go. And he's a couple hours before me. So I woke up and I got a text message from Jerry. He's like, I'm ready to go down to the store. I'm ready to get these Apple gift cards. But this seems weird. Are you sure this is you? So literally can happen to anyone. And it's just the nature of the business that we have. So we're doing a lot of that email security and employee awareness, and it's the favorite thing. Software. That is the second, the second largest way that bad actors get in. They'll get onto a network and they'll say, oh, Bill's computer over here is unpatched, and they can use that exploit to get into your computer, elevate themselves to an administrator, and then go from there. Data backups and recovery, so that's basically your last line of defense there. We're backing up your guys' servers. We back them up locally. We back them up to the cloud. We can spool up within about 3 to 4 minutes in the cloud if needed, the servers of the fire stations to back everything up. Network hardware protection, same idea. Ins and outs. We're basically trying to correlate all this data to make informed decisions about what's going on in the network. And ransomware protection and response. Everybody's heard of ransomware at this point, but same idea. All of our systems and tools are looking at everything and trying to figure out what's happening. And, you know, again, it's unfortunately the approach that we have to take is that we're going to see these things happen be prepared. Similar to you guys, right? It'd be a great idea that there were no fires, but you're essentially having to take the approach that it's going to happen, so making sure that you've got all your responses in place to be prepared to go out and fight those fires as they come up. And that's basically where we're at. So. Excuse me, that's essentially just a super high-level overview of what we're doing for you guys. Any questions? Requests? Yes, sir.
So, local and cloud backups.
Yeah.
Right? How often is that done?
We do those nightly.
And whatever they did, reinstalling our backups and moving on.
That's exactly what we would do. Exactly what we would do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I should say, in the large scale situation, right? If your computer specifically was attacked and we were able to catch that and lock that down, but maybe there was a couple files that got infected, encrypted. We do have tools that are installed on the computer that allow us to roll those back. So in those cases, we can roll those back. If you were attacked, you had administrative privilege on your computer, you were able to bypass it. Essentially triage. So we come in here, we categorize the computer as what was infected or looked at what was not. We wipe those, we start from scratch. One of the reasons that we're working hard to get you guys kind of in SharePoint in the restored.
And there's some training that we're supposed to be doing. Is that correct?
Yeah, this could be coming to your emails. Everybody that has, it sends out to the whole listserv, so you should be getting it.
Recently?
They come
Once about a month. Yeah, first day of the month.
yeah, once a month. If you're not, let us. We also get reports of who's not doing it.
Yeah.
But,
Yes,
No?
Well, that makes two of us, Brian.
Yeah, three of us, three of us.
Yeah.
You guys are, you have a established fire email.
yeah.
I know that some of the commissioners have gotten, I got the report of who's not doing them, so I know.
I'll jot that down. I'll make
Oh,
sure. I
well,
wouldn't
you
want to
know.
Oh,
get
boy.
So you know, I'm a boy.
Yeah.
We have
Who's been going?
two flavors. There's the little videos that everybody loves, right? You get a little thing, you log in, you watch a video. Some are better than okay. Talking about gift cards. Completely down, billions of dollars lost. And that was essentially not, you can just walk right in. So same thing can happen in the technical world too. You've got all these passwords and systems and whatnot, and then somebody calls up and sweet talks the technical support people and off and running.
The training is they send you a email with a link to click.
Yeah.
Oh, literally. So yeah, so they literally send you the thing they don't want you to do. So don't be scared.
Pretty sure I've never gotten I feel obligated.
That's a good point.
I actually deleted it for a long time because I thought they were a scam.
Did you? Okay. Well, so the other thing that we do is once a month, and these you might not notice as much, we send basically a fake email, so it looks, and if you notes it, and if you actually type in your username and password, it also notates in our system, and then it will run. You know, you can look for and for next time.
And the reason I wanted to come is we had some training the other board did before you guys got on, and that this was a topic, but also we're replacing switches, we're replacing some routers in our internet, we're trying to upgrade our fiber to be able to do the, because we couldn't do the cloud right now, our internet is not stable enough. So there's gonna be a lot of things coming to you that are gonna cost the other week when we were going through this. So just a lot of these things we're doing are fairly expensive, but they all tie to this risk security profile.
Yeah, on the infrastructure side, what we're referencing there is we're basically, what we're doing is we're installing a device that takes multiple different internet sources and then can load balance between. So let's say that you've got a phone call going over the internet here, and you've got our device and you've got your 2 internet connections. You can literally just walk back and unplug one and plug it back in, and unplug the other one and plug it back in. The phones will continue to go, internet will continue to go. So we're basically really trying to make sure that the redundancies are super high for all the different stations.
That we currently aren't backing up to the cloud because of our poor.
No, we are backing up to the cloud, but our server is a cloud-based. They want us to get to a cloud-based server, which I've been reluctant because we have sometimes hard time just downloading web page.
Don't you have faster internet now?
Not yet.
Oh,
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
So that's what I mean. But all these pieces come in together, and our current stations, that might be 20 grand to get fiber to Maple and RLB. And so we haven't landed on these, but I wanted you to know because there's just a lot of things coming in the next probably 2 years that are going to be fairly substantial as we try to keep up with this.
So who would these emails be from, these training emails?
The audience support.
You would,
Right here.
you would say audience support would be who the name is.
Enroll,
Wants me to enroll.
audience.
Oh, see?
Yeah. And just, yeah.
All right, so let's go on that question. So part of our
Different, yeah, competitor to CrowdStrike.
Is
but thankfully not CrowdStrike.
Oh, because I read an article that referred to them as being one of their products.
No, so CrowdStrike's a different company, but probably the closest competitor to Sentinel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious. It's like, well, we didn't get infected by any of that, or affected by any of that. So-
Yeah, it was a rough. Well, we weren't affected either, but we had friends and people we know in the industry that were, and it was not fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Nothing? Okay. I've got it notated here. And
There's stuff.
Yeah.
That's the first person to ask you.
Yeah, I'm shocked. This is just come up here more often. Yeah. Yeah, no, I will, and Craig.
Yeah, it's like, I'm good.
You can't request.
No, that's not training.
No, it's not, I know.
He unsubscribed to those emails.
Okay. We had somebody send us a middle finger emoji about a week ago on this. So, they're well loved, we know. Yeah. Especially the reminders. We've actually debated turning off the reminders because they can get, kind of annoying. That's just-
Any other questions, gentlemen?
Nope.
Chief Osborne.
Yes. So we were fortunate. And then for a hydraulic O2 cylinder lift for the large oxygen cylinder. So the way this works, we did last year as well with our purchase. Al and I are reimbursed. Authorizations. I did two different vendors. Yeah, the general purchase products, and when we're reimbursed, have that money redeposited back into that fund. There's line item 3150 and line item 3501, two separate line items. So yes, take from the fund, transfer 10,908.91 into, or then broken 2008-1651 to line item 3150 and 2092-36 to line item 3501. And then return that money.
Back. So you just have to take it out this time, put it in the right lines, and then by doing nothing, it goes back in.
All right, I'll make a motion that we do exactly what you guys just described.
Yeah, what do you think of that? I'm interested. Is that what it is? So does the. Are they?
Same thing when we remove it, put the jack up, put the jack lower.
So instead of getting the three biggest people in the crew, you just get this thing.
To make sure that
You know, they were the ones that wanted the power load cots, so I don't, honestly don't think we're gonna have.
I mean, it's the easy way to do it. Fixed fingers or smash cell or.
So I don't think we'll have compliance
And for
issues.
both of these,
Very user
just so
friendly.
you know, you have to document the training, so everybody gets trained. They would want to see that that training occurred. And we'll have it
Is
right
there
on
any
time.
other kind of audit process? Because a lot of times you get grants, there's all kinds of strings attached.
Yeah, for this one, pretty straightforward so far.
Yeah, this one is, these are the lowest strings attached.
Got Audie in here, they can send it out for us.
I was gonna say, I big training.
To most people.
We need to give you.
But I'll send it.
I just assume that they know I'm smart, so I don't know.
Well, maybe that they've been sending you the test and since you're 100%, you don't have to do the training.
We'll make sure we send you any you missed, just so you.
Is that it, Chief?
That's it, thank you.
Thank you for that
Thank
work.
you.
Yeah, it's nice to have free stuff. And now it's something that's not quite so free. You want to share?
For me to do it?
I don't want to do it.
Okay.
You are Chief Withrow.
I'll start and then I'll pass it to Chief Weatherow. So, we have two 2017 and two 2017 and two 2018 ambulances and a 2012. And so, other fire chiefs, Torpin especially, that going to the bulk purchases makes more sense. You save time and that you can talk to Sean. The committee puts a lot of time in, and doing it one time is just a lot of staff time and ability and all that. So one of the things is we went to the bulk purchase to get 3 ambulances, plus we can actually standardize them. Because no matter what, it seems like if you even move a model year, something has changed that you cannot do it the way you want it to. So that's kind of what we're moving. We'll try to get there with the engines closer the next time, and it'll probably be the one after this next time with the engines that we'll get to 3. But with that, a committee has been working for about a year, and they've looked at all kinds of manufacturers, all kinds of stuff, and so they've just selected the Braun, and we talked about this last meeting. We pivoted to the Chevy diesel chassis after discovering all the problems with the Ford engines. So right now for 3 ambulances, and remember, or not remember, we're gonna go to 2 reserve ambulances instead of 1, so that we can have a little more capacity. So we're completely outfitting 1 new ambulance, and then we're replacing the equipment in the other 3 as needed, but most of what we can move over, we will. And so that comes out to be 1.24 million after taxes, licenses, decals, radios, all that stuff. So I'll let Sean talk about the ambulances themselves since he's done it all, he's been the expert.
Yeah, so the committee, like Chief said, we've been meeting for about a year. We started locally here and then expanded our search out to other manufacturers. We've toured up and down I-5 to actually physically look at ambulances. We've spent a lot of time in drawings and seeing what's out there. Also surveying our employees to see what's important to them and how they would like to see them laid out. The 2 most popular chassis that we feel that meet the best needs for us are the Huntington Beach layout and Darrington. So that was a platform for us to start from.
And these are both from Braun, right?
Correct. Yeah. Both purchased from Braun. The Darrington ambulance was in service for about a month when we went and looked at it. And then the Huntington Beach, obviously, we did go to California, but we spent a lot of time online looking at drawings and pictures. And, those were the base platforms that we wanted to conceptually start with. And then we went down to Braun in March, sat down with the salesperson, and then started the process. We kind of clipped and picked and put everything together, and this is the plan we've come up with. The committee spent a lot of time developing it. I think it's a good product. We're at a point now where we want to recommend it to the board to purchase. It's not perfect. You know, there's some things that need to be ironed out at pre-con, obviously, and then during final inspection. But those are things that are routinely done at every build.
So do I understand that, how many do we own right now? 4?
4, and when these come, we'll increase our fleet to 5. So we'll keep the 2018s.
So that's where the net increase in having to outfit 1.
Correct. 1, we need everything for. You know, and like.
What's the mileage on those other 2?
You know.
A lot?
Over 100,000.
Just getting broken.
Yeah, and unfortunately those.
Unfortunately, the V10s we're running them too hard, too many RPMs. We're blowing spark plugs out of the cylinders. We're having issues with them throwing error codes for cylinder 3 and cylinder 5 in particular on 2 of our ambulances. They're constantly going into the shop, coming out, turning around, going back 2 weeks later for the same error codes. And those are critical engine error codes. We can't continue to operate them because they're misfiring and not running appropriately. Report from one crew was they lost power going up through Lakes Hill. So
what's our plan for the next 18 months then?
Keep trying to do it without replacing an engine like
supply Band-Aids?
Yeah, you know, and if we get to another, you know, we just replace that 1 engine, so that one should buy us some time, and obviously that's going to be one of the ones that we keep, and so. Yeah, we're going to try to lip it along, and the closer we get to the date, the less likely we're going to put $12,000 into a new engine, and we'll probably be asking our neighbors if we can work together. So that's it. So they should last longer than this, and so the diesel chassis, the Chevy diesel chassis is $13,000 more each, but all we need is 6 months longer life. So I did the calculations. If we can keep them 6 months longer, it pays for that $13,000. That's assuming we don't have any less maintenance cost. That doesn't assume we save anything over the life of it. Just extending, and we should be able to do that with a diesel chassis. You know, we're not reboxing. There's no way we'd rebox these chassis. They're not stout enough to even consider that. The next chief might be able to rebox the Chevy diesels and save even more. So that 6 months is just assuming we buy all new ones in 8.5 years. So I'm going to, our strategic budget, I'm going to move it to 9 years. Since we don't have a lot of experience with it, I probably won't do more than that. But right now it's set at 8. We'll move it to 9, right? And then as we see the life, as it gets closer, we might be able to kick that out another year or 2 or whatever. Also going to 5 allows us to use one for MOBs to get revenue back in. You know, we can't send out our only spare. But if we have 2 spares, depending on what's going on, I feel comfortable sending 1. So there's the potential to do that.
Are any of the existing ones reboxed?
The 2012 is it right? Was the 4x4s reboxed?
4x4.
Yeah.
And what brand was that?
The chassis or the ambulance?
Yeah.
It's a Braun.
Braun, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it? Comments? Do you want to sit on this for any longer, or you want to vote on
I would say we vote on
it?
And just, we're using the HGAC bidding process, that has to go to SNR, so in your motion, just put pending. You say, well, accept the contract so that I can sign it, but say pending approval by SNR, so if he catches something,
Yeah.
then we'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
Got my only suggestion.
So I move that we expend these funds in the amount of $1.24 million. That's hard to say. Based on all in favor?
it. Aye.
Don't spend it all in one place. Well, I guess you have to.
You have to.
Yeah. Well, no, we have to, so it has to go to the state of Washington for taxes and licenses.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It'll all be in Shayla.
Next up is another apparatus purchase. This is for just one, however, not 3. Tractor-drawn aerials.
Well, this is a little simpler since we're not replacing this. This would be the first one. We've spent a lot of time deciding, one, what type, straight, TDA or bucket, and with our environment, we felt that TDA was the most appropriate for our entire district, for what we serve. Garrett's here also for this one. Sean's the lead in all the committees, but he's the chair of the operational section of the ladder committee, so he can answer some things too. Again, the price in here has a lot of equipment because we don't have one. So a lot of buying of new equipment has the taxes, licenses, and all that. It is a 4 years out, so I have a little bit bigger contingency on this one because it is that far out. And again, so you're approving the funds, but they really won't come out till the 28-29 budget cycle. So if you look at the PA, we don't have enough money to pay for it. That's because we're going to be putting money in every year between now and then to get up to that. Again, I'll let Sean talk about what they did and what he specifically did to kind of figure out where we wanted to go. So.
Yeah, so also about a year ago, I was tasked with the project of touring the 3 large ladder manufacturers in the United States. I visited Rosenbauer, I went to Pierce, and I went to LTI. And I got to tour with the salesmen, the factory floors. I got to see their assembly process, their manufacturing, how they produced them, how they delivered them to the customer, and spent a week doing that. That was in November. After my visit, came back and reviewed my notes and sat down with Chief Waller, and we both came up with the decision, and we both agreed after my visit that Pierce was probably the single source manufacturer that we would want to do business with. They were the only manufacturer that could meet the requirements that we were hoping to achieve, which was a 750-pound tip rating on a heavy-duty ladder. I asked every single manufacturer when I went, the very first question, can you give us a single axle, short wheelbase as possible, 750-pound tip rating, and Pierce was the only one. The only difference with them is their jack spread has to go out 17 feet on the outriggers instead of 15. That was it. So that Pierce ascended 107-foot ladder is the one that fits our need, and they can deliver it on a single axle tractor trailer, as short as possible. So we've started meeting with our salesman, Darby Hepper. He couldn't be here. He's back in Appleton, Wisconsin. with the customer right now, but started the process. Garrett and I sat down with him pretty early and started conceptually going over what we wanted. Clean cap being one of the parameters, again, short as wheelbase as possible. We were looking to add a pump or a tank to this. This is not a quiller, this is a true truck. We identified pretty early from Chief Waller's wisdom that Snohomish County is really light on ladders. There's currently, when they're all in service, 8 ladders in Snohomish County to service the entire county. Ladder 5's been out of service since July 16th. So we've been operating on 7 ladders. Ladder 71's been up and down. I know Ladder 14's also been in and out of maintenance. So there's a need. I know South County's also ordered another. So our ladders are starting to become more prevalent in the county. I think we're moving in a good direction. The other part of that is developing our ladder culture. So one other thing that we started doing in touring these, we obviously want to develop the best ladder that we can, because this is it's an expensive piece of apparatus. It's gonna last us 20 plus years, so we wanna make sure we do it right. And it serves our needs and the community's needs for its entire service life. So we've been all over the place looking. We started locally here in Snohomish County, because our neighbors, Surfera has one, South County has one, Ladder 10. We've been to Bellevue, we've gone down to Shoreline, we've been out of state down to Gresham Fire. Bellingham's about 2 years ahead of us in the process. We've also reviewed their drawings and talked to them. And then obviously countless online drawings and pictures. Done a lot of talking with other departments that run buckets, TDAs, and they all echo the same thing. Don't underpower it, and make sure you lay out the compartments how you want to. So that's been a focus of the committee, to make sure that we have conceptually, we know how the compartments are going to be laid out for the driver, the aerial operator, the tillerman, and then hopefully someday the 4th person on the truck. So,
I can see where that could have, just laying out the compartments could have been a big challenge, because having never had a truck here and not really having a great grasp of what truck stuff is, and then you got to figure out, okay, well, where do we put that? And does it go with this or does it go with that? So I appreciate the effort that you guys have gone to. Thank you.
Yeah, and ground ladders are a priority. This is a truck, so we want to make sure we have as many feet of ground ladders as we can. And there's mixed feelings on whether or not we want a 45, but the chief has made us foresee that we do need to have a 45 because of the buildings that we have in town here on Maple, on First Street on the Charlie side, and we need to be able to deliver that service to our neighbors when they need it. If they need a 45, they'll know that we're coming and we can deploy it. So we've been meeting with Darby since February, March. We've submitted ideas back and forth. We've met at least 6 times, 5 with all of the committee. And early on, we asked for everything. And then once we got to about the 4th meeting, we realized we need to start cutting some edges off. Like, this is a little excessive. There's no way that this is appropriate. We are still trying to develop our ladder culture. I think we've refined it down to tools and equipment and how we'd like to deploy. Education's coming up for that. We're going to start doing ride-alongs with agencies in the state that have a long history of truck work. Spokane and then Seattle and Tacoma are options for us. So that's the other part. Before the truck even gets here, going out and seeing how other agencies that have trucks and a history of truck work operate, developing our culture, and then training our people, because this is going to be a big culture shift and strategy shift for how we park at the scene, how we lay out and develop future engines. Right now, we're primarily a cross-lay department, but when we have our truck, most of our attack lines are going to come off the back. So just by where we park, out of the way, we pull past so we can see all three sides, and then leave the front of the house or the building for the truck.
Mhm.
Trucks can be equipped with all the tools and equipment and the scene lighting. So it's important that we develop that culture and hopefully prioritize that. when we
So
go.
for the purchase, you mentioned that a lot of new equipment's gonna come up here. Buying it through Pierce, cheaper than buying it from Ellen Curtis or whoever is?
Pierce does that automatic. The only thing that's cheaper is the ladders because you pay almost 50 to 100% the cost of a ladder and shipping.
Yeah.
And Pierce, I'm assuming gets it for zero because they probably get an entire van,
Sure.
panel van
Box
full.
car.
Yeah. So that's about the only thing that's cheaper. So originally they had it through Pierce and I asked them to do just what you said and they took everything out of Pierce, right? The ladder's now the only thing.
Fiberglass pike poles and the ground ladders.
Oh, okay.
Because those, no cost. I mean, it's the same thing we would pay here. Whereas a 6-foot New York hook that we could get for $162, they were well over $240. And then when you're buying over a dozen to 20 of those, like, it adds up.
Sure.
Braun is no different. We've also researched with Braun. Braun will upcharge us 30% on anything, but we can drop ship it to them for whatever we can purchase and they'll put it on. So we're looking at it both ways,
Good work.
the truck and the ambulance.
Yeah.
So that's the detail that they've gone through to make sure that this is as bare bones as we can. And then I'm putting the amount in every, when you get the budget, you'll see this amount in the budget, even though it says 28, 29, because in our long-term budget, I do have money trickling out because we're gonna try to start buying equipment ahead of time. One is if we see good prices, good sales, something's going on.
Sure.
But two, we can start getting that training with the equipment, as it comes in instead of trying to figure it all out the year it's delivered. So
Yeah.
there'll be some expenditures trickling up to the 28, 29 calendar year.
And we're not buying all new equipment. Some of it's gonna come off our engines. We're gonna gain real estate space, compartment space back, because right now, our engines are doing truck work. And we'll be able to remove those saws and extrication equipment and airbags and get that.
The rescue stuff will come off of those, mostly.
Most of it, not all of it, but yeah.
And,
On just 41's engine or all the engines?
Probably both the city engines.
There's gonna be a lot of stuff that comes up in 41 and 43, and some of the stuff up in 42. But they need some stuff because they're further away.
Yeah.
They need
And then the reason we're doing that is because I would like to get our engines to have ALS equipment on them, so that when they're at a fire and the paramedics are there and something happens, they actually have the equipment to do it, just in case, the one that hit me home is when we have the East Side tire fire, right? Greg's BC and I help on him. He's kicking all the ambulances away to get them back in service because we're short resources in the county. Well, pretty soon we didn't have any aid or medic units on scene. We still had a half a dozen or more fire units.
Yeah.
It just takes one of our firefighters to have a heart attack and we're gonna have 13 paramedics there all starting each other what to do.
No
So
equipment.
when we move stuff from the engines, it allows us to do other things with the engines and then also save costs from purchasing all that stuff, but it won't be 100%, that we're gonna have to figure all that out as we get a little closer. But yeah, we don't plan on buying any chainsaws. We don't plan on buying any extrication because we can outfit it with that. And then also what I was going to is we're starting to change the culture of the staffing of the stations. We're going to put a transfer list out soon. I don't know what the time is, but we're moving towards making sure all of our tech rescue certified people are at 41, where the ladder is going to go, so that we're starting to set that staffing model up. The same thing, not only will we have the ladder there that's extrication rescue, but we'll have the people there that's extrication rescue. And that's one of the reasons we go with the 750-pound tip is not only does it give you the ability to be on the tip and running something at all angles, I wouldn't say all wind speeds, but anything that you would want to go up there with, where you do 250-pound tip, there's a lot of times you can't operate where and how you want to.
Right.
But it also allows you to use it as a high directional, as a crane. So if we get somebody on a roof, we can package them into Stokes, and just lift them off and set them down. Or somebody trapped over a bank, we can stick the aerial out and use that as a high directional for the rope system. So it opens up a lot with the rescue when you have that tool. So in the 17 spread, it's only 1 foot on each side, so it's not a huge amount. Am I missing anything? Sorry, I jumped into your thing. I have a hard time not talking. Just tell me to shut up.
So, the chief and I have discussed having a reserve aerial, some way, because like Everett's down, they don't have a backup, right? Nobody has any reserve aerials, right? I mean, if you lose it, you're out. So we talked about, okay, you can't really go to Hertz Rent-A-Car and buy one of their used aerials, they're not that prevalent, but so we're still working on that. So I'm sitting here thinking, this is a 4-year process. If we don't have some sort of plan, either us or regionally, to bring in some more rolling stock in terms of reserve aerials, would it be smart to order another one?
That's the conversation I want to have with the chiefs. I'm trying to they're all on board because none of us get the WSRB rating.
Yeah.
No, we don't get the full points without having a reserve. But WSRB lets you have reserve through ILA, right? And so that's what I'm trying to talk with the chiefs is, and I told you this, the biggest problem is us, South County and Surfer are easy because we actually all run tillers and we're moving that way. And so we could spread the cost pretty easy. It's a little winky with Everett and Marysville because they're bucket ones, and then North County is a straight stick department. So the 3 of us for sure, and it's really us. I haven't been pushing it because I'm trying to find that reserve ladder, the reserve tiller. We don't have a place to put it till 27, so I got like a year. But I thought the same thing. At some point, we just have to do it. So is it either we go together and buy a new tiller, we go together and buy it, if we can't find a used tiller, we go together and buy a used straight stick, right? Used straight sticks are easy. You can go from tiller to straight stick, bucket to straight stick. Like going from anything to a straight stick is pretty easy. It's bucket to tiller or tiller to bucket that gets a little winky, right? But bucket to straight stick or tiller to straight stick is not a hard transition. So that's kind of my thought. I'm trying to get these guys to look for reserves when they go back to the factory. I'm going to ask them to push that a little harder. Of the, not just talking to Darby, but talking to the corporate, like, there's gotta, if people are buying them, they've gotta be replacing them.
They do.
Right.
And I know it's a lot of money, but,
well, the used one I've been watching, 2000s are selling for like 20,000, 30,000. Right, so the hard part about, I know you're saying new, but a used one is, like, that's not even, I don't even need to ask the other 2 if they will help pay for it, right? I can find the 35,000 aerial, we just buy it, and then figure out because they'll probably pitch it, but I'm just saying, we can just buy it, then we can figure out how we do it together. Sure. A new one, we got to get to how we're going to do it together, figure it out before.
But for a reserve,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So there's some prepayment options that we looked at. One of them was paying the entire thing in advance, which I'm opposed to because I think a lot can happen in 4 years. And the amount of money that we would save, I think we could probably make more in interest by not paying it, right?
Yep, I agree.
But then there's a couple of things. I think one of them was for the chassis and the ladder. Prepayment for those, I think, does make sense, but, I'll go along with whatever you guys think.
And then there's the third one.
Was there 3?
Yeah, there's, I think it's if you pay before you pick it up. There's 3 small ones, and I would advise all.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact word, but yeah.
So give them the check when you get on the airplane, not when they get
Pretty
there.
much,
Yeah.
yes.
Any other questions, guys? Chief Withrow, thank you for your work on this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Very well done.
you and the committee.
I was gonna say, I'm remiss, I wanna go back, so, I don't know who was all on the committee, the ambulance, Sean can correct me, but Dave Lacy did a ton of work, and who else helped?
Jason Lee.
Jason Leading. And then the latter committee is Casey Bizzelli, Claire Wolfenden, and Garrett, correct? And they also have done, all three of them have done a ton of work, so I wanted to make sure the names got out.
I'd like to
Yeah.
generate a letter to them. So, want to act on this now? Do you need more time to read?
I was just reading the payment discount on chassis. What, it doesn't say what the discount is.
It's
Am I missing it?
20 grand.
Yeah. Chassis discount is 19,890, the aerial is 8,646, and the payment upon completion before they take it from the factory is 22,157.
Okay.
And that's on
So about
PDF page
50
125.
About 50 grand.
$50,693, I see it there now. Yeah, I move that we go ahead and authorize the expenditures of the funds.
Is that funds true?
Pending legal review.
Pardon me?
Pending legal review.
Pending legal review.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Love spending money.
It's fascinating.
Okay.
It's like, I make you guys do training on that. I may sneak up.
Chief Osborne, do you want to talk to us about the CAP?
What do you want, do you want to do your,
Oh, executive?
well, cooperative work matrix?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So for the past several months, since spring, we've been in dialogue and conversation with a bunch of different commissioners around the county, talking about future and what that's going to look like in Snohomish County. And what has happened is that it's become kind of obvious that there are three departments that kind of have an affinity for doing things together. It's not that the others don't, but they're just a little smaller and it takes them a little while longer to get things rolling and they have to figure out how they're going to make things work. But South County and Surfer and us seem to kind of be on the same wavelength as to where we need to be looking future-wise. And so I have met with the chair from South County and the chair from Surfer, and the three of us are kind of exploring what we can do combined. We're not talking about mergers or consolidations or joining up or anything else like that. That's not the intent, but we want to make sure that we're working with each other the best that we can. And at the same time, the chiefs have been meeting, kind of doing that same thing. Troy Elmore from Monroe, from Surfer, sorry, I kind of keep that whole Monroe Lake Stevens thing, suggested that we have some joint commissioner meetings. And so I wanted to throw that out, and we'll talk with South County as well and see if that would help. His desire is to be as open and I agree with him, to be as open and transparent as we can about this whole process. that nobody thinks we're behind closed doors trying to pull something shady, because we're not. We just want to make sure we're planning the best for the citizens that we protect. So, with that in mind, we're going to kind of move forward with that a little slowly. I think Troy wanted to have a meeting sooner rather than later, and I said, well, let's just figure out that that's going to be the best route to take. Because we need to be in conversation with labor, to make sure that they're not going to go, whoa, wait. And some other things. And like I said, the chiefs are meeting and talking about some of the similar things to do operationally. And then the commissioners are meeting up here to talk about more global stuff. So I just want to let you know where we were with that and let all of you know where we are with that. And we'll keep you posted.
That just some things that came out of that, and Jason can speak a bit more, but the training is moving, I wouldn't say light speed, but definitely the speed of sound, maybe not the speed of light, but it is moving rather quickly, and labor's being involved. There was supposed to be a meeting, but tomorrow, but there's some schedules that the labor part got canceled tomorrow, but it'll be rescheduled. But they're might not have a meeting, but they're still being involved. It's really been, I just commend the ACs, because it's really just, they're really the ones that are now driving it. We got the ball started, and it's really being worked on at the capital level, which is where it needed to be anyways. So that's a good thing that's came out of this. The medical trust, we've had one exploratory meeting, and then we brought an advisor in, and everybody is still on board. Labor was invited to that. Most unions are represented. I think everybody is 100% on board, and I say that to you because it's likely that I offered us to be the lead agency, because we're going to have to hire some people, and that's going to have to be through an ILA. So you might be seeing things for that within the first couple months of next year about getting an ILA that we're the billing agency and we'll collect revenue from the other 6 departments. And that one is actually bigger. That is, so the training is mostly us 3, but the medical trust is bringing, so far, all 6 want to be on board 100%. Awesome. The littlest ones are just excited as the biggest ones. And so that's two things that came out of that are actually could have product starting to show up next year, awesome. This year really, with that's the great. Training. So.
Great. Thank you for reminding me of that. Didn't write it on my own notes. Now we can move to the cab, unless anyone has questions.
No, I was just going to say I encourage that whole group.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Yep. The group getting together, group thought, because the further we are ahead of the ball, the better off we're going to be in the long run. So yeah. Putting more heads together is just going to help everybody in the long run. We'll be able to provide a better service. And then as our service change, and it always does, it always evolves, we're going to be able to adapt to it much quicker.
Because we will have at least maybe thought about some of those changes.
Yep.
It's an idea that's been thrown around for years and years and years, and seems like it's gaining traction finally in a whole bunch of areas, which is really, really refreshing to me.
Yeah, having this whole Snohomish County region is talking together is definitely going to be beneficial for everybody.
Chief Osborne, the cab.
Yes, the cab. We've been talking about the cab for a while. We developed guidelines. Some very special thanks to Commissioner Mills, Chief Waller, and especially our administrative staff, putting time and effort into looking at documents and helping build what we've presented to you in the past and what we've presented to you in this packet tonight as well, with the guidelines, with marketing materials for recruiting, and then ideas to go out and recruit, all the way up to having an email and mailing address and what we would like potential cab members to submit to us for your review. And then the board can take it from there as far as interview process or what you want to go beyond that. I let the cat out of the bag a while ago to a few people And we'll say that I've been hounded by a few people. When is that going to happen? I really want to apply, which is positive.
Yeah.
But when we first started talking, we talked about how broad can we make this thing? How broad do we want to make this thing with the membership? So I want to be cautious. Ultimately, the decision is yours with who would come on the board and then the makeup of that board, just based on, there are people that are involved in 99% of the things that go on in our community because they're just doers and they do it. And I want, some of those people to apply for sure. I don't want the whole makeup, and this is just me being those people. I want those people that maybe have never been involved, maybe that want more information about Fire District 4 and our community, to also apply, at least be recruited to apply and go from there. So what we put together for you is that Community Advisory Board recruitment plan that's in the packet. Like I said, all the way up to here's how we want you to apply, and then a timeline. The only thing about the timeline that we specifically and purposely left out was when we would actually start. And that's, that term would start at the first meeting of the CAB, whenever that is, because we don't know when that is yet. And I didn't want to get something down there concrete, it says that, we have to do that, right? So, but there is timeline for the rest of it. We want to not drag this thing out forever. If we're going to go for it, there's a timeline there. And then all the way up to you to give that approval of those members and form that committee, and then we can set that first meeting and have that timeline begin. So I wanted to see if there's any questions about what we submitted, all the way up to the poster with the QR code and everything that Chris and our office staff make.
So is staff ready to do this?
We're ready to go.
If you
Our
approve it,
commission. Yes.
it'll go out, it'll start going out tomorrow.
It'll
So,
start tomorrow.
so they've got the method to accept the applications and do that whole, everything's ready to go.
Absolutely. So we are ready to start as soon as tomorrow.
That QR code actually goes to a webpage. We haven't put anything on it because it's live. It just says more information coming, but that will, if you say it, the first thing that Caitlin and Sam will do tomorrow is put this content on that webpage so that the QR code, obviously that is already live, goes to the information you want. So yeah, we have pretty much everything. That poster will be done poster board size. We'll have 11 by 17, but we're also going to do a poster board for the community barbecue at the Bill Shop.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting it done.
I just want to double go over. So our plan right now is you would have an executive session during the regular November meeting to review applicants. We would have an early meeting in December, so you'd have to come in an hour, 2 hours, however many candidates you select and however long you want to interview, we would just back that up. So the December meeting would start at 6 or 5 or 4 or whatever you need, so that we'd have a special meeting to do the interviews and then start the regular meeting at the normal time. So that's the current plan.
I move that we move forward with this.
All right, I'll second that motion.
Any discussion, further discussion?
I love it.
I would vote yes. The only thing that came to my mind was, Brian, in your research, have you found other departments that have a community action board
Yes.
at all?
One in Washington, but it was an ad hoc. It was run for just a short time. The others are all out of state.
Yes. That was my finding when I was researching. Sometimes they would come together for different issues. They would come together.
But not as a standing committee.
Correct.
Yeah, no,
This could be groundbreaking.
I think it's a good way to get the community's input on any number of items.
Right. Right. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all your work.
Thank you, Greg and Brian.
That brings us to staff comments. And there was something there that I wanted to ask about. but if you guys want to start, go ahead.
I provided some, I'm still working on the layout on when to report notable calls to you, because we're kind of mid-month, and do I report all of August on this one? So you might get some duplicate information. I'm also working with Shauna, and probably in the next month or two, we'll have some additional data she's working on. We're just trying to get it narrowed down to what we want and how to present it to you guys for some call data. But we had a couple of significant, Everett had a significant 2-alarm fire that we participated in. We sent resources over either to the scene or move up, and I got to be part of the county coordinator for moving resources around. So that seems to be happening more often when the agencies get 2-alarm fires. Because of our response, it really drains an area. So somebody's coming in behind, whether it's myself or a DC from another agency, in moving in-service units around the county for cover assignments.
Are there preset triggers
We're working on
that
some.
set that in motion?
There is some, we already have rave alerts when, that we would get when any zone gets below a certain percentage of ALS units, transport units, ladders, engines can be set for anything. We started getting those probably 6 months ago on a test, and now it's more permanent. Problem with some of those is we still haven't figured out what range we want it to trigger, because it gets like anything else, you start ignoring them.
Yeah.
So when South County is down to 25% or less transport units, which happens 3 times a day, you stop paying attention to the alert. So we're still adjusting the thresholds, hoping to find that spot where when it does trigger, you actually pay attention to it, as opposed to Bay Alarm just sent us something saying Station 43 Alarm's battery is bad, and you ignore it. So they do have that. We're still working on the percentages.
And are there pre-identified people that then launch into doing what you did for Everett?
Yes, but not on a regular schedule. So we do each South County, Everett, Surfer, District 4, in Marysville all have
Not North
people. North County. So every agency's got a rep at these meetings. There's really only a few agencies that are actually participating. Getchell, Chief Stalker, jumps in there. So there's like 4 of us that are active in it. And that's one of the challenges. We have a meeting actually next week. One of the challenges that we need to bring up is for a system like that to work for a county resource manager, you'd kind of have to go back to the old volunteer days. You'd have to have a duty week. Because right now it's unspoken. So for all county resource managers, and 3 of you are in Hawaii and 2 are out of town training, then, and nobody's communicating, then you don't.
Right.
When the 2-alarm comes in, nobody's.
Or-
Right now it's
or
all
greater
text.
alarm than that.
Yeah, right now it's all text message. Hey, do you guys see this alarm? Is anybody available to coordinate? So there's some things.
So that's a
to
work
be-
in progress.
They have a committee that's been working on it for a year,
Yeah.
and it's still meeting,
Yeah.
trying to,
Figure it
yeah,
out.
the people that don't participate also don't often like their solutions, and yeah, so it's just one of those committees that's,
Yeah.
it's grinding its way through, but you would always
It's a
think it'd
big
be a
need
little
though,
faster.
you know, especially Everett. If they get sucked down and it starts pulling everybody else in, then you gotta get somebody with a brain to look at the county and say, okay, we need to redistribute things.
Resources.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not gonna happen at Snow 911. You know, in bigger cities, Spokane, Tacoma, Seattle, they do it. The dispatchers do it. You know, they just, okay, move up to here, move up to there, and it's, but that's probably not gonna ever happen here, but it would be nice to have the same function happening automatically. So, sounds like you're working on it.
It's work in progress. Yep.
Good.
We also had
Sorry.
a Snow 911 failure. So we had the Everett 2 alarm, and I think it was a couple days later, Snow 911 paged out that they're on literally pads of paper and pencils. So they could receive 911 calls, but they couldn't send anything out for station alerting, paging. All they had was call takers, pad and paper, and radio watch, and they would call FOCs to distribute the calls. And then so essentially all the BCs for each agency had to open up a FOC, and dispatch would then contact them, and then that BC would
Wow.
determine
How long did that?
about 5 hours. I think it was solid 4.5, and then they got partial restore to where at least they got station alerts, but it took them a while to catch up on the calls. So we have a fire attack meeting also next week, and I'm just curious, I haven't seen any after action reports or nothing at a Snow 911. They identified a piece of hardware that failed. I guess some questions I have, not just I, others, is we already have through dispatching a backup called the CAD Lite that's supposed to, if your main CAD goes down,
Yeah,
it's
what
got
happened?
a watered down recommendation list. It's not interactive as much as the full system, but at least gives you a start. And I'm curious as to how they both went down. I would have thought they would be firewalled, kind of like Audien was saying, if it hits you here, you still got this. And so it's
Sounds
whatever
like
piece of hardware
Single
failed,
point of failure. then.
yeah, took the whole system down. So hopefully they've identified the same thing and are working on segregating those out so that we don't lose the whole system. I'll go to acknowledgements. You guys have any questions on anything I provided yet? I'm just going to highlight a few acknowledgements for our members. MSO Bromley got a site visit from a couple people from SCIMS to audit training records, look at our CE schedule, how we're documenting that, and he got raving reviews, and basically told you guys are doing a really good job at documenting, and so I wanted to recognize Bromley that
Good.
he's doing a great job maintaining records, and QA process was looked at. District 4 is going to provide for 2025 a TO up to the Snohomish County Training Academy. That's a 1-year assignment, and we got Lieutenant Bartleheimer and Lieutenant Higbee both interested, and we're going to end up separating those. One will attend the first Academy of the year, one will attend the second. So we're going to have two members fill that position. I say it's a year, it's really 2 academies. So there'll be about 4-month assignments for each of them.
You want to explain, so
And
they're,
they're just backfill for them here.
yeah, they're not the day-to-day with the recruits, they're the support staff to operate the academy. So they're not doing the instruction, the training, the evaluation of the recruits, they're supporting the
Yeah.
COs to do that.
There's three positions up there, TO positions, which just a company officer can fill. It's not really rank based, it's but logistics, facilities, and then instructor scheduling. So and right now it looks like the district board more than likely be taking over logistics. So they'd be sourcing pallets and OSB and stuff to keep the academy running. So we had three individuals, 4 actually, that said they were interested, and after some discussions that dropped down to 2. So, but appreciate Bartleheimer and Higbee stepping up. I also wanted to recognize Jason Leedy, and I know you guys, probably some of you guys have heard this before. He really has a passion for our CPR program. He's the one that kind of leads the school district CPR. And I've been hounding him for a few years to build up that reserve CPR instructor cadre, because it ends up being he's the main instructor, and then Aaron and Neil and Daryl will also help out. And he runs into trouble where I need instructors tomorrow, and it strips my training department. And so I keep threatening them that we can't operate that way. You need to get more people involved in your instructor cadre. And he started that, and then COVID hit, and he's just now got, I think there's 4 individuals that should be qualified to teach. So he's building that redundancy and resiliency, so, which is helpful for the BCs and for staffing, because I think right now it's, with that many people, you can usually find somebody off duty to go teach, as opposed to pulling somebody on duty and getting a cover assignment. So he's doing a great job with that. And then we're going to be conducting entry and lateral firefighter interviews in late September. So we hope to at some point have a list to give to chief to bring to you guys to.
And that's for the class in the spring, right?
This will be for Academy 25-1. So we got to do all the interviews, backgrounds, all that, conditional offers, medicals, and be ready to go by January 1. So we start the interview in September. So I would anticipate October meeting, having a list to you, and then depending on how budgetary stuff goes, then potentially starting to make offers after the October meeting. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Any questions from Chief Rader, Chief Hill's stuff one of us can try to answer?
There was something in here that I hadn't seen earlier. I thought, oh. Oh, the payment from the city of $293,000. Are they up? Are they on time?
Yep.
Following, okay.
As every quarter we true up, and that was the whichever quarter it must have been from June. So we have to send the receipt out. So we Sam and Siobhan agree at the end of the quarter. So, first week of July, they agree that, because they keep it up on a monthly basis. So end of July, yep, we send out the invoice, they pay us, we receipt it in. So that's just how long it takes to get, and then it gets to you the next month. So that was the June one. And so into September, we'll send out the next quarter. And so Siobhan and Sam are keeping it up now. I'd have to ask them, but on a weekly basis, if lack of.
And the city met all of those time frame requirements that was originally established in that ILA, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Now it's just, and we have more things going on right now. So now it's true up. They're paying for things too. It's just they always owe us more because we're doing more. And right now we're basically the only thing that's gone through is really the Frank law, the infrastructure engineering. Like we just got a $15,000 bill that you will pay, and it'll go on the thing, but they pay 60% of those because it's the infrastructure. So that's mostly what's going through now until we get to bid day, and then it'll be lots. And then anything else on? I'll know.
Either of you?
Nope.
Oh, my report didn't get in there.
Yes, it is.
Oh, there it is. I went too fast. Most of the things I covered. If there's any questions, let me know real quick. But the big one is answer that to you. Probably little things to run down. And the reason it's in September is because we took over the data. And like Jason said, it was really South County. By the time we got them on board and Jennifer building things, she didn't get most of it built until about Shauna got in, and then I tasked Shauna to really learn it, and then there was lots of tweaks between Jennifer and Shauna getting it the way we do it and what means us, and really now South County built the framework, but Jennifer from South County is really not doing any work anymore. Now Shauna has taken that over, and I think she's gonna we're gonna send her to it's SQL. It's a form of computer programming that you can do in Excel, basically.
Right.
So we're gonna send her an SQL class, but she's able to really get us, so before we were getting very limited data from the third-party company, and it wasn't data that I trusted, because we would always find multiple mistakes in a report. So then, that's where I got to the end, like, I didn't trust anything, because I was always finding mistakes. But Shauna's doing a real good thing, and we can just ask her to do anything, and she can figure it out. So one of the questions was, we are gonna, at some point, probably put extra staffing in here and there, you know, as we get people, but it won't be all the time. She was able to figure out on her own how to do heat maps, and we now know the busiest months. Using the last 5 years, we know that Thursdays, weirdly, every month, every week, Thursdays is our busiest time over the last 5 years. Not Friday or Saturday. But things like that she can now do that in the third party that we were paying, they wouldn't do anything that wasn't in the contract. And so just like she's building the thing for Thad, or for Jason, it's, you know, her getting into this will be hugely beneficial to all of us as she moves down. So that's what I wanted to kind of hit on, is you'll get it annual report soon. The data held it up, but we've really moved into, we jumped about 7 decades in our data in the last 2 years. So it's been great.
Good to hear. Anything else? Chief?
I'd like to yield my remaining 2 minutes to Grego to give his report.
Thank you. And I don't have much.
Did I skip Greg? Oh, man.
Yes.
Greg's
Do
dismissed.
we, on the Filchuk get-together, is there anything you need help from the commissioners to facilitate, cook, or anything?
If we cook, we have to have a health card for the state. So if you guys would like to get your health card so we don't have to, we would greatly appreciate
I had one
that.
once upon a time.
Pretty easy to get, yeah.
No, everything is actually, honestly, the city's doing 90% of the work. So we have to show up and cook and bring our little tent with our spiel. The city's really, they're getting the bar, they're doing everything else, right, Greg?
So are we doing kind of 2 things there, talking about the fire station and talking about the cab?
We just gotta have the cab there as a,
So sneaking it because the city doesn't know about that.
correct.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, now they do.
Do barbecue, games for the kids, and really talk about that awesome future facility.
And Frank and Eric will both be there so they can answer for us and the city, so we'll have our stuff. I think the police are gonna have this tent, and the city's gonna have 2 tents for public works, I think, and then, anyways, there'll be 4 or 5 tents with information. Frank and Derek will be there for both projects to answer. We'll have our poster boards like we did at National Night Out.
Okay.
Plus a couple more.
Did we ever talk about the 3D model?
We did, that'll be there for that. We'll have a 3D model of both stations for that by then.
Oh, cool.
Well, last time I talked to Frank, he said they'd both be done by then. I haven't seen
How
them.
big?
Oh, he told me the scale, but I don't know. I mean, he's talked about it. I'm thinking, it's a decent size. Was it 1/20th scale? Can't remember. I can ask him.
It's gonna be like $5,000. It's made out of Legos. It's a lot.
Pink Legos.
Are they I was gonna ask if they were color coordinated Legos.
Coordinated Legos.
So yeah, thank you. We'll have the 3D models there for each station too.
Okay.
Great.
Really, other than what I have written here, the first thing under apparatus and facilities, all mobilization apparatus are back home and in service. Shortly thereafter, Brush 43 was dispatched to a fire down in Lewis County, the Huckleberry Ridge Fire. So we have Brush 43 down there with
Nobody in Oregon.
Pardon me?
No one in Oregon.
Nobody in Oregon, no. Still in Washington, down there in Lewis County. The last email today said no talk about demobilization yet, so.
They're on night shift.
Yeah, on night shift. See how the weather goes.
So that 11 to 10 or whatever it is.
10:30 or, yeah, something like that, till 10:30 the next morning.
Somebody's gotta work graveyard.
Yeah.
They're in the dark. They literally don't know what's going on.
Well, hey, they do have the advantage, they can see the fire.
Yes. Any questions about what I submitted?
So the cancer screenings here are countywide?
Yes, so.
How long is that going on?
It's gonna go for 3 weeks. It started today.
3 weeks?
Yep.
Oh my.
It'll go for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And the Snohomish County Health and Safety Officers had talked about this pilot, and there's more to come with it. But I said, hey, we'll be the host agency for the first one, see how it goes. Seems to be going well. There's a lot of signups from all over the county, including retirees, including family members, spouses that come in addition to the firefighters. And had a great start out today. BC Witherell helped yesterday afternoon. We came in early this morning. There was people already here, and they came in, set up where they needed. Didn't need this room. I thought that they would, which is really good for everything else that goes on in this room. And then next year, talking about there's free dermatologists that offer skin cancer checks. So we tried to get them this year. Even said, hey, we'll find money and pay you. They said we can't accept money. So they may have a couple of days during the 3-week span where some skin doctors are here to check, maybe not. And then there's an extremely large trailer that has x-ray machines in it that does light dose chest x-rays, and then they do some cardiac calcium testing along the way that we want to add next year. Looks like Everett will host next year. So yeah, we started today. And
So how long does it take?
Good.
I mean,
Roughly an hour at the most.
okay.
So you could choose between
Yes.
one or all three of 3 different things. So if you do
Correct.
all 3, it's an hour. I don't know how much each piece is. So
The blood test piece is literally 5 minutes, if that's what you did.
blood test, a whole body ultrasound, and what's the third
Exactly.
thing?
And then the other one was,
Was that the chest x-ray that we didn't do?
yeah, so
Okay.
we're not doing that, yeah. So they're doing 2 stations in there, the full body scans, blood work's in here, and then that's it.
Okay.
It's all voluntary. The person who does it pays, no departments are paying for it, right?
Only South County is paying part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody else comes in and pays themselves for the test.
Cool. 5 new explorers, that's exciting. The chaplain that did CPR,
Yes.
how's he doing?
He's doing pretty good. And I say that because our chaplains take care of each other. And I've been in direct contact in my office with Jeff Andrus and Margie Jacobson both, who, after the fact, met with Mike. Mike came in the next day to the station. He's a very humble man, but they're watching him, they're tracking with him. Sounds like just for something this bad to happen, a fantastic process and an even better outcome. Where that gentleman said, I've got things to do, and 4 days later walked out of the hospital to go do some of those things.
You know, if you have to do CPR on somebody, it's, yeah, so what? But for one of them to, you know.
Yeah. They're the people that we call after everybody else does the CPR.
I just
and all
want to
that.
make sure that we're,
Yeah, but he, another chaplain went later, just to check on Mike, and Mike was in chaplain mode, taking care of business. Who was on that one? Okay, it was at Pursuit Church. Okay. I didn't know which BC. But, short answer to your question, yeah, the other chaplains were right on him. How you doing? That kind of stuff.
All right.
And still monitoring.
good. Commissioners, anything to talk about?
Yeah.
Nope. Okay. I think we, yes.
I was gonna say, if you guys have been in the front office, see the digital dashboards, we got those rolled out to all the stations now, so. We got 4 locations in 43, and then 1 at 41 and 1 at 42. So those have been been rolled out, so every station's getting the same digital dashboard, which is something you guys approved, so.
Cool. Well, with that, I think we'll adjourn into, I have to say my little spiel, right?
Yep.
The board will be going into an executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.1101G to review the performance of an employee. The executive session will be for 20 minutes.
2033?
2033. So you all can hang around or